don't know how I'm going to get across. Oh, I'm going to get my... Look, my trousers are getting dirty. Look at the state of my feet. I've got to try and get over there.
Hey, welcome to Friday. Today we're going to talk about AOC, Chuck Schumer, and schizophrenia. So there's a little bit of controversy in the weed world when it comes to studies coming out showing a link between psychosis and heavy weed smoking. There is yet another one that came out that is showing an increase in diagnoses that are schizophrenia diagnoses and them being associated with marijuana. So this is in Denmark, by the way. This is not in America, but in Denmark, there were 2% of schizophrenia diagnoses that were linked to marijuana in 95. In 2000, that number jumped up to 4%, and in 2010, that number jumped up to 8%. So they are then linking, in this study, they're linking heavier usage of higher potency marijuana to more people getting diagnosed with schizophrenia. This is a field that has been kind of growing. We've been seeing more and more studies that are showing a link between psychosis and marijuana, and that being said, there is not a link between a small usage of marijuana or even smoking plants. It's when you're getting into the high THC levels of wax or dabs or things like that, where you're starting to see if people have a habit of doing that every day, they have a higher chance of forming some sort of psychosis. I see a lot of places kind of ignore these studies, and I don't think that's right. I think that we have to, while we're also trying to get legalization and trying to get marijuana to be less stigmatized, we also need to do it in a way where we're letting all the information in. Otherwise, we become very biased in our advocacy, and it needs to have a well-rounded view of the entire plant. There's a lot of belief that marijuana can do no harm, but it is like anything where you can do too much of anything, and I believe that you can do too much of marijuana. You can smoke too much weed, and this is kind of on the very, very far edges of that. So it's important to know that there is at least a spectrum that you want to stay inside. Anyway, that's Denmark's study. There are a few studies happening in the US that are kind of showing similar things. Nothing big enough to show something conclusive, but everything that comes out does come out in the way of showing a link between psychosis and marijuana when it's used at a very high dosage. And then in the psychedelic world, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I hope I said that correctly, I guess people usually just say AOC, has just introduced an amendment to a larger spending bill that would take away this language that has been there since the 90s that basically says you can't use federal funds for any activity that promotes the legalization of any drug or other substance in Schedule 1. She's trying to take that away because it's really limiting the amount of research you can do with marijuana, you can do with psychedelics, and she's focusing on psychedelics here, and she wants research to really just open up. So this is something that she introduced in 2019 to get rid of that kind of language in the rider of 96, and it very overwhelmingly got shot down. So she is bringing it back up 2 years later, because what's amazing, in 2 years, the kind of general viewpoint around psychedelics has changed so much. There has been very mainstream books come out by Michael Pollan that have kind of shed light on the huge link between reducing depression and using psychedelics done in a therapeutical setting. And people are coming around to it. Oregon, obviously, very famously, has decriminalized all drugs. So has some cities in California. California itself is kind of in the process of doing this. So just in 2 years, we have come a long way in our beliefs of psychedelics as a whole. So she's reintroducing it. Hopefully this time it will have more backing, and certainly will. So it's great to see this. I hope that this gets passed, and there will be a crap load of studies that come out that use psychedelics, because everything that comes out shows the link, and just more and more studies come out, the better it solidifies in people's minds that there is that link. And finally, Chuck Schumer got on, what is this, ABC, The View. He went on The View and he talked about, his weed bill, and specifically what he's going to do, how he's going to get it to pass. He doesn't really use specifics. He, again, speaks in kind of a very politician way, but here's the clip, or a part of the clip.
Can we pass it? Yes. This is a place, Sonny, where the public is way ahead of the Congress. South Dakota put it on the ballot this year. They're hardly a liberal state. And a majority of people voted to legalize it. 75% of America's for legalization. So Senators Booker and Wyden and I put in a draft bill. We're now going around to our colleagues saying, would you sign on to the bill? And if you don't like what's in the bill and want some modifications, tell us. I want to get this done. And I think we will get it done because it's so overwhelmingly supported by the American people. Yeah.
COVID
that was a whoopee, I think.
So it seems like he's really riding on just the public perception of marijuana, and he's hoping that people are going to come around to it because of that. He says 75% of people are backing weed legalization. So he's just hoping that the rest of the politicians around the country are seeing that and will slowly change with it because of the pressure of their constituents. That being said, there's no specifics in what he's saying. He doesn't actually have a plan of how to get this to pass, because right now it certainly won't pass. But the fact, I guess, that it's there, that it's kind of getting in the consciousness of the country and of the senators, I guess that is his plan, is to, it's a slow game, and he's going to put it out there, let people get used to the idea of it, and then eventually one day people will vote for it. We'll see if that works. That's it. That is it for the week. We'll be back on Monday with more stuff. See you then.
Bro, you better be careful. I heard there's someone running around, jumping in fountains, some crazy